Sibel Edmonds, FBI whistleblower, described by the renowned American Civil Liberties Union (ACLU) as the person who has silenced most of the mouth in the history of the United States. Quote, in addition, she revealed that aircraft of NATO regularly shipped heroin from Afghanistan to Belgium. Now FBI whistleblower Sibel Edmonds claims that senior posts are held by pedophiles because they are easy to blackmail. They unmasked Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, as a pedophile. They also revealed that the husband of U.S. Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, Robert Creamer, is a pedophile. He is a convicted criminal, a crook, and was involved in money laundering, Edmonds on Creamer said. Schakowsky became involved in affairs with foreign spies, which were used by the U.S. government to blackmail her, according to the whistleblower. The same applies according to its Hastert and dozens of other politicians. She says that one of her colleagues, another FBI whistleblower, was in charge between 1993 and 1997 to check the background of prospective federal judges. That colleague discovered in its view that the people who had the most skeletons in the cupboard were appointed judge. The Clinton administration, the FBI and the Justice Department did not want to appoint people to federal court unless they appear to have enough in the cupboard, Edmonds said. So it had rapists, pedophiles and despicable figures, she added. So they could be easily blackmailed by the deep state. That deep state wants in this way to ensure that only blackmail candidates to senior posts. If you have nothing to hide is a big chance that you will not get the job, she explained. They cannot put pressure on you. And so the corrupt system works, says. The people who make our laws are criminals.
I have been receiving tons of emails, inquiries from people talking about these recent emails that points out to some pedophilic operations and network and Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton's involvement with that. But to be exact, the main questions I have been receiving from people has to do with, well, Sibel, you exposed Dennis Hastert as a pedophile in 2006. You have spoken about how Congress gets to be blackmailed based on the documentation that the FBI and other agencies have on them, documenting, recording their sexual deviations and other skeletons they have in their closets. How come you haven't been talking about it? Well, I think answered that. I have been talking about it, and I have talked about it. I have talked about it. It was published on Vanity Fair magazine in 2006 through Boiling Frogs Post, through James Corbett's report. We have talked about not only Dennis Hastert, but we have talked about Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky in Illinois and her pedophilic husband, Robert Creamer, Bob Creamer. Even that name, Bob Creamer, surfaced during all these email leaks. The fact that he visited, and this is a convicted criminal. He's a crook. He's a charlatan. He was engaged in money laundering, etc. This is the guy who's married to Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. And Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky is the woman that I talked about under oath during my testimony, and about the fact that her activities, sexual deviation activities, she was having lesbian love affairs with foreign spies, and they were using those and blackmailing her. And meanwhile, the U.S. government was collecting all this information, but instead of bringing it into some prosecution or exposing it, they were using it against her. Same thing with Dennis Hastert. Same thing with dozens of other congressional people. And I want to clarify what is happening here in the most simple way. Look, I have talked about the fact that one of my FBI whistleblowers, and this was a decorated agent, okay, who never became a public whistleblower, but he went through court cases with the FBI internally because he went to the DOJ, IG, that's Inspector General's office, etc. One of the things that this guy exposed, and I went to the media, and I had this guy on the record with him, but they never published, was he was working between 1993 and 1997 in this division in the FBI, where one of his tasks was running background check on federal judge candidates. And this is during the Clinton administration. Because those federal judges have to be cleared by the FBI. They look at their backgrounds. Are they pedophiles? Are they rapists? Do they have some financial nefarious activities, etc.? And he said during these 4 years, when this FBI agent, this decorated FBI agent, and this was 10 years or 7, 8 years before he blew the whistle, he was running background checks on these federal judges. The way they were selecting the ones to appoint were the ones who had the highest number of skeletons. Meaning the government, this is the Clinton administration, this is the FBI, this is the head of DOJ, they did not want to appoint any federal judges to the bench and go through the confirmation process if the judges or the candidates didn't have enough skeletons, meaning they have to be rapists, pedophile, despicable characters, and that information is collected during the background check. And then they are used against these judges. So the judges rule per government's instruction. Very simple. Same thing. One of my main whistleblowing facts that I exposed, and this was in 2002, between 2002 and 2006. And if people were to go and visit my State Secrets Gallery, they're going to see all these individuals, whether they were from the executive branch or congressional people, they were involved in the case I was exposing. And I talked about the fact that they were all blackmailed. Blackmailed by whom? They were blackmailed by the deep state. They want to make sure that only blackmailable, maybe I made up a word here, blackmailable candidates get to hold offices, whether executive offices or they are in Congress, whether they are in courts, federal judges. If you're clean, if you're squeaky clean, and if you start running for a major seat position, the chances are you're not going to get there because you will be disqualified. They don't want you there. They cannot put pressure on you via blackmail. So this is how this corrupt system has been operating. I exposed this. We had Russell Tice, one of my whistleblower members. He was with the NSA for 15, 20 years. He came and he talked about the fact how NSA was collecting dirt, not only on judges and senators and candidates for Congress, but even on the presidential candidates, straightforward. They were collecting dirt. Why do you think they are collecting dirt? Obviously, these people are not going to jail. Nobody's putting them into trial.